Okay, so I don't take a lot of time this morning, but in 30 minutes I think it's enough to start the way to work in Alphacam, because it's important to understand that it's important to draw in Alphacam directly, as
Yeah.
as we saw. So okay, the Alphacam interface is easy because we work normally in this way. So the view in this moment is in 3D, and you can understand it because the axes are in this way. If I switch off the view, the 3D, you can see the numbers on the y and x axis. Okay, so in the main view, you can see everything in this way. We start to project something, if you want, in the directly in 3D. What I mean, when we produce something in Alphacam, we start every time from a rectangle or square, nothing else. If you have some shapes, if you have some curves and so on, we draw after. So first thing to do is to identify the panel dimension.
Yeah.
This is very important also because this is information that the machine must know 100%. So I go on geometry and I select for the rectangle. The rectangle asks me for the first corner and the second corner. The first corner is every time 0 and 0. So enter, enter. The second corner is the dimension, so the length as the x-axis and the height like the y-axis. In this case, I write, for example, 1000, enter, and 500 millimeters. Of course, the command in Alphacam it's switch on in this moment, and you can see Alphacam asks you to make another rectangle. In this part of Alphacam, it's really important to see because it's the way to the dialogue part of Alphacam. When the software asks for something, ask in this section. So look this section because this is the part where the system asks us information or something like this. So in Alphacam, the structure it's I take the command, for example, rectangle. I use the command up to the command is finished, and then the command is anyway switch on, like in this way. So if I want to pass over and to make something else, you have to switch off the command that you take. And to do this, it's very easy because you press escape on the keyboard, for example. In this moment, I switch off the command and I switch off the dialog here. Now the zoom situation, it's very easy. If you go on view, you can see the section of the zoom are here. In this part, you can manage all the zoom that you want, all window, in and out, limits, pan, and so on and so on. For example, I just explained the zoom all. It's very interesting to use because as you can see also in this case we don't have the completely view of the rectangle that we created because it's too much, it's too big. The camera that on the focus it's on the corner and we don't see nothing else, but I want by just one click I can see the complete dimension of my drawings. Then I can use the round of the mouse to have the zoom like a lot of CAD system. But we have also the mouse. It's really important to use in the zoom in and out because if I go on this part, for example, I go on this corner and I zoom, you can see the corner is in the first. It's an automatic movement to keep your attention on the corner, for example, or in this other corner. Can you see that it's change? try it, it's very interesting. If you press the middle button of the mouse, you have the pan, so this one. So what I'm moving, I'm not moving the, it's like I move the table where I'm drawing, I don't move the piece, because the piece is anyway 0, 0. I move all the table just to visualize better something. Okay, so with these two commands, so zoom all, pan, and the zoom that you have on the mouse, you can manage more or less everything. It can be interesting also to use the zoom window. Yeah, it can be if you have a big drawing, because they can make just a little window here and then you have the zoom like a focus in just one little area. Okay, so you can also use in this way.
Yeah.
Okay, now the drawing is bidimensional in this moment. I don't have any thickness. It's okay to work in this way with the machine. No, in my opinion, it's not right, but it's possible, and it's the situation that happens with the stairs of Tommy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the system can work also in this way. I mean, the post processor understand if you make the panel or not, and if you don't make the panel like in this way, the post processor will ask you for the panel dimension when you save the output NC for the machine. So the NC code, it's possible to write, it's possible to work in the machine. Is the best way? No. The best way is every time to say to the system that we are working with a panel that you have the dimension and you have also thickness. And makes sense to spend a couple of minutes, maybe less, to put this information in the system. And it's also really, really easy, because if you go on 3D section, you can manage this first work volume. This system, when I press, this is the thickness, for example, 20 millimeters. And the parameters are every time in this way. The base, this is the base of the panel, so the part that touch the vacuum caps on the machine. The thickness is plus something, so for example 20, 30, 100, and so on and so on. We can make also in this way maybe, and after this the system asks me to take the parts, for example this. Okay, I just select in this moment. In Alphacam, when you select something, the selection of the parts becomes blue, like in this case. If you want to go on with the command, you have to press the right button of the mouse. For example, in this way, and we create automatically the plane. This is because it's important to have the work volume, because in this moment I create the thickness of the panel, yes, but also create all the standard face, and I select, for example, this face or not. Yes, just a second. You have a configuration wrong. We change the configuration here. The configuration remained the same. Okay. Now it's perfect. Yes, let me see. We don't make any configuration maybe before. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now let me see. First volume work. Okay. So when you switch on, for example, the first phase of the panel, the first phase is yellow. This means it's called the local plane. It's like the faces that you have in TPA. And here, for example, it's switch on now. So everything I do in this moment, for example, I make a line. The line is in this phase. If I change the phase, for example, and how to change the phase in this way, I go on work planes. In this section, I can select all the phases that standard phases. You can see. So you can see that, for example, I program something here. Can be, I don't know what. And also you can see now we are working in this phase.
Yeah.
And the system is really fast because I can draw everything like I'm working every time in the standard phase. So to me, it doesn't make any difference to program something in this phase or in the edge of the panel. It's the same thing. It's very easy. Okay, and if you want to work in another part, no problem. For example, top. I switch on the top. And so this is the standard phases. Of course, you can have a lot of spatial phases because you can create yourself. But for this, we wait a little bit.
Okay.
So the standard is I work on this, and in this moment the system understands what is the dimension of the panel, length, height, and thickness. So to come back for example, in this situation where I want just to use the router here, I want just to make this line, nothing else. The system is okay. I open the machine because the first thing to do. It's when the drawing is finished, of course. I go on the tool list, in my tool list. For example, this I choose my tool, of course. If you want, is also possible to have a filter. This is a filter. So I can select, if I want, I can select, for example, just the flat. Or just the drill. You don't have any drill, for example, in this directory. And this is, for example, just the flat. I think all kind are flat, maybe yes. The type are all flat, so for sure you can select just this. But this can be interesting if you have several name or several type or kind of tools, so you don't wrong to select a wrong tools type. For example, I choose this. Okay, and I select. The second thing to do is the tool direction, as you know, and I select, for example, of course, the tool selection depends. You have two areas. Open geometries is this, or closed geometries is this. So you have to know if we are working with open or closed geometries. The difference between open or closed, it's easy to understand. For example, this is closed. This is open, and this also is open. So if I want to set the tool direction, I must know if I have to go here or if I have to go here. In this case, I go here. And because it's an open geometries, you don't have the concept of outside or inside like in the closed geometries. Because it's not inside or outside, it's left or right. And left or right, it depends if I start from this point to this point or from this point to this point. But in Alphacam it's very easy to understand if it's the right or not, because if you select, for example, left and you click on this, you can see the movement of the tool direction, and opposite is this, or center is nothing. Okay, so for example, I select on left, close, and then the last thing is I really go down and I really work. And when you have a line or a lot of lines that you have to follow the line with a tool correction and with a particular depth, you can choose this kind of work, rug or finish. And for example, in this way, I use vertical, not auto Z, because I don't take any kind of 3D from another system. So we use automatic Z in the case of we have a 3D after us. Vertical, so standard, if you are working with a part that has not any kind of depth. In this case, I don't have any depth. So the final depth is I have to write it, it's 10 millimeter, for example. And this is the tool data. So this is the tool parameter that this tool takes every time, and is the default parameters that this tool has, because in the list when you create the tool we write down this parameter. Maybe it's not correct, but okay. I can also change here, but if it's wrong, the best is to change directly in the tool list parameters, so the next time that you use this tool the parameter will be okay. Okay, but I will explain. So this is the tool that I want to use. Select geometries like this, and you can see the system create two different layers. The first one is the white one is the work that will be done from the system, and this one it's the center of the tool. For example, we use a tool of 20 millimeters, so this is the center. So we touch your line with correction on the left side, right, everything is right, and the difference between this point, this line, and this line will be the radius of the tool, and that is okay. So if we finish, we can also check if everything is correct. And to check it, I have several ways. For example, you open here. For example, I can switch on the simulation. Let me see. Oh, sorry. Simulation. And I have two ways to make a simulation. This one is on wide frame, it's called, or not solid. Give us some information, because you can see the tool working, but you don't know a lot of things, like if the tool is flat or if the tool has some shapes, because it's not solid. Or you can switch on the solid. But if you want to see very well everything like the machine will do, we have also to give to the system another parameter, and is the set materials. What I mean, if I choose this from the 3D menu and I take the panel, the system asks me, it's like I put in the system the material, So it's a solid material like MDF or massive wood or something else. It's okay also in this way. I prefer, because you can see now we have selected the first part, so the first phase is selected. I prefer, when it's possible, to deselect the work plane. So in this moment we have not any selection phase. It's global, it's called. Now I prefer to set the set materials. And in this way the system remain on the international system. Okay, and now it's finished. And now if I want to switch on the simulation like we do before, but I select or also the solid, now you can see some information more. For example, the tool that we use has not any shape because the cut is completely flat.
Yeah.
It's completely flat. So we have some additional information. And everything it's perfectly as we want, and we want to save the program and save also the output NC. So as you saw already several times, in this moment we can save both. Of course, to save it's a completely different way to save the drawings and to save the NC code, because the drawings it's saved like in this condition. I create, or if you have already, let me see. Okay. Can I create a new folder?
Yeah.
Alphacam training April. Okay. Okay, in this directory you will have all the lessons that we do.
Okay.
So you can repeat yourself if you want, check the video and so on and so on. Work volume, we call this. So of course what we save is the Alphacam program. As you saw already, if we take this program and we share with the machine cannot produce nothing because the language are wrong.
Okay.
In this case, you must make, for example, the output NC to work with the machine. I save also here. I can leave the same name if you want. And you can see now the system asks you just for description if you want. It's not necessary to write if you don't want. And the offset. The offset is the millimeters for every axis that you want to go inside or outside to increase or decrease. For example, in case of formatting the panel. If I don't make any formattation of the panel, I just say nothing. So what I produce two things: Alphacam program that you can open and the TPA program for the machine. Okay. And this is the line.
Yeah.
So the starting point is create in a good way the panel, select the phase that you want, put in the selection some draw, and then go outside in the machine. So the concept will be the same for every kind of panel.
Yeah.
So not so. Just a second. Okay. So okay. We can also start another concept. I make a new drawings. So I repeat the same thing. Geometry, rectangle, 0, 0, 1600 or something else. Zoom all, view. Let me see. This one was switch on this. Make attention. If you work with some configuration, otherwise you close and you. Okay, I created the panel, so 3D, set fast volume work, and I put here the thickness, window, right button of the mouse, and I can select the top plane, so I start from here. So we speak about the open or closed geometries right now. What is closed and what is not closed. I want to show you something about Alphacam that it's not the same like in the other CAD system.
Okay.
For example, I want to do something like this. If you work in Alphacam, if you draw in Alphacam, you must know a couple of really important command to draw. The first are both in edit, is the offset and after the trim.
Yeah.
Are very important, like in all the system. Offset, it's you know maybe the concept. It's if I have to copy something little or bigger, so you have to give me one line or more than one line or curves or something else, arc. And I can draw automatically with some distance, and this is the distance, the same. For example, 100 millimeter. The system asks me what? So, for example, if it's set on geometries, I say okay, I select the geometries and I go inside. In this way means I take the completely geometries, in this case is a rectangle, and I copy all the side of the drawings, of the geometries. I come back and I take another time offset. If I choose for line or arc, in this case, I just copy, I go to copy just the line. Okay, so for example, sorry. Or something else. Okay, so you can have, for example, in this way. So it depends what you want to offset. Okay, I come back because I want to offset the completely rectangle. So it's geometry. Okay, here I want here. Perfect. But after this, I want to cut, for example, my drawing here. Of course, one thing, if I want to, for example, here I want an arc, there is a lot of way to do the arc, but the fastest is this, as you maybe already know with other system, CAD system. For example, 100 millimeter, 2 elements means 1, 2. If I select geometry, all the corner will be done with the radius of fillet radius of 100 millimeters. So it depends. You can also select automatically everything. If you want to make a chamfer, for example, 100 is the 100 are the distance between this point and this point, so it can be the same or not. In this case, 100 means it's like to cut at 45 millimeters. For example, like this. Okay, so all this kind of command are really easy and fast to work with, but sometimes can happen that, for example, Uh, for example, I make an arc like this, and now my shapes will be this. So, is it possible to trim? Yes. It's really important to understand this command because it's very powerful. So the trim is this. The trill ask me, you can see it's a command that will ask me several things. So I have to follow all the parts. The first thing that the trim requests is to select all the geometries in the trim, and I select everything. Right button of the mouse, and now ask me that what I want to remove. For example, this, and this, and that's it. So I modify my shapes in this way. Now, I have a question for you. This is open or closed geometries?
It's red, so it's closed, I think. It's open.
Okay, why it's open?
Yeah.
Not just because it's red. Forget that it's red.
I mean, it looks like there's, I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. You don't know. Is best. Is the best answer.
Yeah.
Seems to be why it's open or not. It's important to understand why. Because if I come back,
it leaks
one
somewhere.
step, I have to understand why.
Yeah.
Because in this moment, I tell you that if this is open, okay, but why also this for the software is open? This is I want to understand, and I explain why.
Yeah, it's open. It has a leak somewhere, and the green one is closed. It doesn't have a leak.
Yeah, okay, but why? Not just because of the color. Because if the answer is because of the color, you don't understand why.
No, it's closed. Like this one doesn't have an
green
opening.
is closed and red is open. Okay, right, but why?
Because it's.
Yeah, in this way it's very easy to understand, huh?
Yeah.
But this
like,
one.
No.
But you can see also this. Yeah, but you can see also this one. Also, this is closed. Seems to be closed.
Okay.
This one and this one, or this one, seems to be very similar. But why this is closed and this is not? I want to explain. Because in all the CAD system, except Alphacam, maybe you don't have any difference. So if I open, for example, AutoCAD, normally it doesn't understand the difference between this and this. It's the same. So close. For us, it's different. We concentrate, for example, on this. The way to do this, I want to repeat. I take, for example, the line or the arc, as you want, no problem. I make with the line, but it's the same. For example, I do something like this, and the system say or think that it's closed. And you can check it, because if I go on, for example, I take the command delete, and I go near to my shapes, all the shapes it's switch on.
Okay.
You can see. Okay, good. And it's like an image that must work. Yeah, it's shapes. It's completely closed geometries. So yes. But look what happens if I do something like this. Becomes 1. No problem. But if I use the trim separate all the segments. And this is because now it's not. So the reason because this is not working like closed geometries is because I use the trim. And the trim, it's a command that separate parts, separate the segments. So in Alphacam, you have another concept. What is everything it's closed must be also joined. And this is the reason because I have to use this.
Yeah.
So if I use this, now it's green, and now you can also see that it's working. Of course, also in this case, no, in this case you have some problem. Here you have some problem of,
Yeah.
this is the problem,
Oh yeah.
the double line. In this case, trim. Or if you want also explode, the explode is completely opposite than join. Is the command that is opposite, of course. And you can see now I have some point that I can use for example, this one.
Okay.
Yes. Let me see, trim. Okay, now it's better. I don't know if it's enough because maybe you have the same problem also here. I don't know. We try to join. Yeah, now it's working. Okay, so what is closed and what is open in Alphacam, it's really important. Of course, if I have a situation like this, this one cannot be closed anyway, because we have a point here that is not closed. And this is the main problem when we have the DXF from another person. The person gives you some program made in AutoCAD or some other CADs system, and the time that we spend is to fix this problem, because in a lot of situations we have the customer lose a lot of time because of this.
Yeah.
There is some secret that you can use, but we will see if you need or not. Okay, some automatic system to close. Okay, but anyway, now I delete something because it's too much thing in the drawings. Okay, we don't use. Now here I make an offset. So repeat, I make an offset, I make some shapes, I use the trim, and so on and so on. And in the end, I joint everything. So just this is joint, and you can see now works good. And now I come back and I go on machine, I take my tool. So the tool list is this, for example, this one. I select and I use this part because it's closed geometries. For example, inside. And then I use, for example, this. The depth are okay. And the system show you several things. For example, the white one, it's the work that will be done. We use a 20 millimeter diameter. So, and the center of the tool, it's the blue one. So when we go here with the tool cannot make a completely angle because you have radius. And this is the tool radius that show you. Okay. So you have all the information that you need. And then I can save like Alphacam drawings. Trim. Sorry. Set and trim. Okay. If you want to check with the simulation, you can do, of course. The best, as we already speak about, it's let me see. I move. You have this. You have in this moment selection the phase number 1. I deselect the phase number 1 because I want to set the material. To select the phase number 1, I go on work planes and I use this to select, and it's completely global in this moment, the view. And then I go on 3D and I set the materials. Just touch here,
Yeah.
right button of the mouse, and the system understands everything, so just okay. Escape, because I just select this, and then on simulation I can also have this switch on and the system show me, and you can see here you will have the 10 millimeter radius because we are working with a 20 millimeters diameter of the tool. Okay, and now if everything is good for me, on home I can save by NC code. I can release the same name as you want. Description doesn't matter. Offset is nothing for the moment. And you have the second program done.
Okay.
Okay, Jacob, for today I think it's enough. If you want to play a little bit with the interface, with Alphacam interface, with standard bidimensional things, it's okay.
Yeah.
Of course, we have a lot of things to say about Alphacam, and if you want to make another hour, no problem. Also next week. Tomorrow I'm not in office the complete day.
Okay.
But if you want on Monday or something like this, no problem.
Okay. And also this program, TPA, to learn inside, because I don't have too much knowledge.
How to program TPA?
Yeah.
Yeah,
even less.
Okay, some lesson, okay, but we share a little bit now. We divide the training because otherwise I don't want to put a lot of confusion in you. It's a lot of things.
No.
So we go on a little bit with Alphacam and draw with Alphacam and put in the machine, draw with Alphacam, put in the machine, and so on.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we open also a little bit TPA if you want, okay. But in this moment we concentrate on Alphacam drawings.
Okay. Good. I'll see.
Make some sample. If you have some problem, you call me. Also today, if you want. You can call me when you want. And then we see what happens. Okay, so the next time, for example, next week will be okay for me.
Okay. Good.
Perfect.
Then see you next week.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Okay.
See you. Ciao,
See you.
Jacob.
Bye.
Bye.